Next, we recognize Ruth T. Jones Nichols. Ruth Jones Nichols is President and Chief Executive Officer of the Foodbank of Southeastern Virginia and the Eastern Shore. Under her leadership, the food bank serves about 15 million meals annually. This year, during the pandemic, the food bank partnered with Mercy Chefs to distribute 2,000 pre-made, pre-packaged meals to seniors and children. They also collaborated with Senior Services of Southeastern Virginia and other community partners to provide prepared meals. Additionally, the food bank worked with school feeding sites to supplement breakfast and lunch grab-and-go distributions and to provide weekend food boxes to families. She previously held the position of Executive Director at YWCA South Hampton Roads. Ruth is a member of several boards, including the Hampton Roads Chamber, Hampton Roads Workforce Council, YMCA of South Hampton Roads, and the Elders House. She's also a volunteer and leadership donor for Hampton Roads Community Foundation's Visionaries for Change, United Way of South Hampton Roads Women United, College of William & Mary's Carol F.S. Hardy Scholarship Endowment, and Envision, Lead, Grow. The Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities is proud to present the 2021 Tidewater Humanitarian Award to Ruth Jones Nichols. Ruth shares more in her video.
Ruth, what motivates you?
I think there are a number of things that motivate me. Certainly my upbringing has been a key source of motivation and inspiration. I grew up in a single parent household where resources were oftentimes limited. And so that lived experience gives me, I think, a unique perspective to understand some of the challenges faced by individuals throughout our community. Another thing that motivates me is the role modeling I experienced growing up from women who were placed in my pathway to be guardian angels, whether it was my grandmother or my mother or mentors. These women taught me about faith. They taught me about the dignity and worth of all people. They taught me about the importance of making sure all people have access to the resources they need to succeed.
What has it been like to run the food bank this past year, especially during the pandemic?
You know, I like to think of myself as a person who is always optimistic, always idealistic, always promoting innovation. And during this pandemic, certainly I've had to be all of those things. But it's been tough, really, as a leader in this moment, because there is a need to really address what we're seeing today while not losing sight of what's going to happen to people tomorrow as it relates to hunger and food insecurity. So tough is the word I would use to describe the leadership experience. But the second word I would use is rewarding. So many people, I think, have stepped up in this moment to help individuals who are disproportionately impacted by hunger and food insecurity. And right now, I think people understand that all people can experience hunger and food insecurity, but right now, overwhelmingly, it's racial and ethnic minorities.
What does inclusion mean to you?
You know, people oftentimes say simple things like, we're better together, or we are the sum of our parts, or the sum of all parts. And when you think about it, there's truth in that. We are better together. When you have different perspectives, you have different life experiences, you have difference at the table, together you can come up with something that's greater than what can be achieved by looking at one thing on its own.
Can you tell me more about the scholarship that you started at William & Mary and why it's so important to you?
You know, growing up, there were so many people who told me what I couldn't accomplish or what I wouldn't accomplish. And it always seemed to me that those thoughts and limitations were largely related to my race, my gender, and my socioeconomic status. And so when it came time to look at colleges and universities, I wondered what was possible for a girl from a poor neighborhood who happened to have brown skin. But then I met a woman who told me about William and Mary, and eventually I decided to apply, and I went there. And there was another woman there who then helped to open doors, and she opened doors not just for me, but for other students of color. So it was important to me to open doors for other students in the same way that she did for so many of us. And establishing the scholarship endowment to honor my mentor was something that I wanted to do, and something that I was proud to do, and something that I think is going to have a return on investment for years to come.